Please join us for an hour of Flashback Sports,
where we look back to the sports of the 70s through today and relive the good,
the bad,
You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious!
the ugly,
the really ugly,
the cool,
the Joe Cool,
the characters,
the many, many what were they thinking moments,
and what made the 70s the 70s.
the events,
Down goes Frazier!
the rivalries,
Wanting to go at each other now, huh?
and of course, the fights.
His opponent in the corner to my right, undefeated in 24 professional fights with 21 knockouts. He hails from Huntington, New York, 225.25 pounds. He's decked out in all green with white and red stripes. Gentlemen, Gerry Cooney.
Important fight in his comeback trail. Let's see. Cooney continues the aggression that he started last round. Goes after him.
Cooney came out of his corner like a tiger.
He's throwing all the punches at this point. And now they're really pounding, and Jimmy Young
He's a mess.
splattered
He's a
with
bloody
blood.
mess. Dick, as I told you, when he hits you, he puts lumps on you, this kid. He can punch.
Jimmy Young's face.
They have to take a look
butchered.
at Jimmy now. He's really cut up.
I don't think he can see out of that right eye.
Hey, welcome to Flashback Sports with Gil and Dave. I'm very excited to have gentleman Gerry Cooney, one of my favorite boxers of all time. He'll be on shortly. Before we get to him, we just want to say a couple of things. Happy birthday to my father, who turned 92, and also to my father-in-law. And big announcement for Dave. His daughter Ellie got engaged to Mark. So without ado, let's bring on gentleman Gerry Cooney.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, did you
Nice
like
to
a
be
little
with
bit
you
of that?
guys.
Did you want to spar with us right now? And Dave's in the background. Dave also will be there to help us. But, Gerry, before we go into your career, tell us about growing up in Huntington and how did you get into boxing? Who was your idol? And talk about fighting, at the Garden and all that stuff.
Gil, and I just wanted to tell you that promo that you just put on was so good. I remembered every moment of all of those athletic events, and I was in it and thinking about where am I going, what am I going to do, and it helped me to grow. I grew up kind of bad early on. I left the house at 17 to find my own way, and I won a couple of state championships and the Golden Gloves in the Garden. And I took a trip I was on the USA team, and I went over to Europe, and I had 4 fights. I had 4 knockouts. And I came back, and, it was the first time I'd ever been on a plane. And I went over, had a great experience, and I came back, and they said, there's a Russian heavyweight team coming to the Garden. Would you like to fight? I said, well, sure. But, I didn't. It was the summertime. I was a kid. I was playing around, going to the bars and messing around a little bit. 6 days before the fight, they called me to tell me the fight was on. I was fighting the 3rd-ranked Russian heavyweight champ. And when I got in the ring, it seemed like he was 6 feet wide by 6 feet tall. But I always liked when the bell rang that I was going to let you touch me. I was going to touch you with what I got. And you're welcome to come back in the house. But if you do, this is what you're going to get. And I knocked the guy out in the 1st round. And it was amazing. I had all my friends from Huntington and Long Island and all over the place. And it was one of the greatest moments of my life. And I got invited to the finals of Olympic trials. I never went because I really didn't believe in myself at that time. And my father was sick, and I wanted to stay by my mother. And so I could have made it to I made it to the finals of Olympic trials. That's where the top 8 guys goes for 2 weeks and fights it out in Colorado Springs, and the top 2 guys go. But, listen, it wasn't meant for me, so I didn't go. I turned pro, and, I turned pro with the guys called the Wacko Twins, and life was great. I mean, a lot of good things happened, and, so many good things happened. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Dave is backstage. Dave,
yeah.
can you hear
me? I can hear you. I can't see it, but can you hear me?
I can hear you great.
Yeah. So we got a fellow Long Island guy. I grew up in Brooklyn, Gerry. I still love you anyway, even though I'm a Brooklyn guy. But I enjoy, the Golden Gloves going to the. I mean, I went to the Felt Forum and watched the Golden Gloves, and that was something, people don't realize the Felt Forum had like a bowling alley. You had, you had so many things at the old garden.
Yeah.
But Dave, I'm happy you joined us because I was taking over that. I had you whacked.
I didn't really believe we had Gerry on. So
yeah. But back in those days, the preliminaries were in the Felt Forum. But if you made it to the finals, you got to the big garden, and that's what we fought. I fought 3 times in the big garden in the amateurs, and it was a very exciting time. I remember coming home and going to the newspaper stand, and a lot of times my picture would be knocking somebody out on the back page of the Daily News.
Gerry, I was reading about your story about how you got your nickname, Gentleman Gerry. I think they said that you worked at a newsstand and things like. Talk about how you got your nickname, and talk about who was your idol growing up? Who's the boxing guy that you emulated?
There's so many things that the great questions. I left the home at 17, and I lived in this neighborhood, and down the street there was a gas station, and the guy that ran the gas station loved me. And he told me I reminded him of Gentleman Jim Corbett. And so I started working for him. We became friends. He came to all my fights. And that's how I got Gentleman Gerry, believe it or not. It was a great experience. I had a tough upbringing going into the gym at Stimson Junior High School with the Capianco family and Otto Giovanelli, and they had all guys coming in to box with. And, we learned in the gym. We learned fighting back in those days. It was so much fun to be able to express myself and be good at it.
Yeah. Dave, do you hear us, or you hear us backstage?
I do hear you now. Maybe actually, I'm going to come on now because Ashley just let me in.
Okay.
Great.
How was that?
Yeah,
very good.
Yeah,
Gerry, nice to finally meet you.
Nice to meet you as well, David.
I'm an Amityville guy, so I was right down 110 from Huntington.
Mm-hmm.
And you were a very big deal. Very big deal.
Dave, when I was a kid, I used to work at the Dairy Barn down in between New York Avenue and 110. And when I was fighting, they put up on the sign, Gerry Cooney drinks Dairy Barn milk. It was so great. It was so great.
I should still have it up there. But thanks for doing this. You mentioned about the video, about the opening video. Our show is Flashback Sports, and our focus is 70s and 80s sports, which obviously you're a big part of. And obviously, especially being a Long Island guy, I remember it was like yesterday. I was in high school when you were going through the ranks, beating Jimmy Young and Ron Lyle and Ken Norton, leading up to the fight with Holmes. It was the same kind of buzz years later. I kind of felt. I remember thinking at the time when Tyson, I was going to school in Albany, when Tyson was doing what you were doing, like a decade earlier,
Yeah.
And it was the same kind of, because your knockouts were unbelievable. I mean, we'll show a couple of here.
Dave, let's show number 3, and then we'll ask Gerry. Gerry, before we go into the video, I would say that I had friends that went to this game, went to this fight at Norton at MSG, and they had great tickets. They were in the yellow section of the old garden.
Wow.
And the time they got to the seat, the fight was over, and they were so upset. So let's play number 3 for Gerry.
Norton, 11 years, the senior of Gerry Cooney, 6'6" to 6'3", big height advantage. The weight is just about comparable. So is the reach and all the other measurements. Round 1 underway. Norton on the right, Cooney on the left. The tactics of Ken Norton in the early rounds will be interesting to say the least. Whether he decides to pace himself, whether he decides to go after the number 1 challenger. 10 rounds, 3 knockdown rule is in effect. The bell cannot save either man. A right hand buckle the knees of Norton by Gerry Cooney. First punch of the fight buckled Norton's knees. Left hand to the stomach, and another right hand to the side of the head of Norton, who stands on the ropes. Left hand to the heart by Cooney. Norton bangs away now at Cooney in Norton's corner. And another left hand scores it again. The legs of Norton wobble. Norton is hurt in his own corner. Cooney trying to measure him. Misses 2 uppercuts, but scores with combinations of left stands. Norton straight up. Norton is about to drop. Norton is on his knees and finally slumps in the corner. He is not going to get up from this. The fight is over in 54 seconds. was put to bed right here.
Right. Cooney went out and did pretty much what I expected, but that was very dangerous when he was able to deliver 5, 6 blows, and the referee just stood there. I think the referee should have stopped the fight a lot sooner.
Norton was almost in a position where he was unable to fall down. He was kind of in a lodged position in his own corner. His knees never did touch, and so Cooney, of course, doing the right thing by just continuing to punch. But I think you make a very good point, and that Tony Perez may have considered stepping in a little bit sooner than he did. Norton was out on his feet. Norton is still on the floor in his own corner.
Well, Gerry,
no, that was crazy, you know.
It was.
You know, to watch that last 4 punches thrown, that referee always let the fights go on too long. And I didn't really know that Norton was sitting on the rope. He was out cold.
Yeah.
And, you know, obviously you're taught never to stop, keep going. And it felt pretty good, but that guy could have got killed.
Yeah,
And,
no, I can remember watching that at the time. It was because watching his eyes bulge, and it was the same. Tony Perez also reffed I think it was the Jimmy Young fight or the Ron Lyle. The Jimmy Young fight, I think, when he let that probably go on a little too. I don't know if he's got a little masochism in there or what, but yeah, that was frightening, to be honest. So
yeah, he was. It was kind of scary, but you know, I hit him in the body. I caught him with a body shot, and he buckled a little bit. So when you're fighting the pros, you give yourself 30 seconds to open up on him and see what you can do to him. And I spun him into the corner just right, and I missed a couple of the first punches. I landed the third, and once that happened, it was all over. And you know, God bless him that he didn't die that night. But
it's amazing.
It wasn't terrible to be Gerry Cooney that night.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I think that was the first HBO fight that they played.
Really? Wow.
It was on HBO that night, the first time they came into boxing. So
Oh,
yeah,
is
it
that
was
right? Wow.
very exciting and scary at the same time.
Yeah.
You know,
and Gerry, as a local kid fighting at the Garden, how was the feeling of that? Was that something special all the time when you fought at the Garden?
No,
Or
yeah, to this day, if I go to a Nick game or Ranger game, I know all the guards, all the guys that walk you to your seats. We're friendly. And that's what the Garden's like. You know, Dolan's got a great place there. He does great things, has great people, and that are it's just amazing. So yeah, to be in the Garden, anytime I go to the Garden, I'm reminded of all those nights that we took our robe off, sweated, and you know, I was going to get you. You know, that was my thing. I had to touch you. Once I touched you, I would be watching you so intently that I'd see where you were weak, and then I'd prey on that. You know, and that's when you're world class. You can get away with that. And that was a lot of fun. And then obviously, you know, it took 13 months for me to make the Holmes fight.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I think that terrible upbringing I had kind of got to me. And I kind of started to party a little bit, listen to people, come on with me, let's go here, let's go there. And I got a little bit distracted. But we had a great fight. It was, you know, the Holmes fight in June 11th, 1982 was shown in 151 countries. And we had a great fight.
Yeah.
You know, I remember I got dropped in the second round, and I'm thinking to myself, what are you doing here? And I got up and fought back. I won the round. You know, and to tell you the truth, Larry Holmes and I are great friends. There was so much racism, had nothing to do with him or I or the sport. It had to do with the people that were trying to make money off of the boxing. And that's a sad commentary. And I really, you know, I came back this past weekend from Chicago and Cincinnati, where I was inducted into the Hall of Fame. And it was, you know, Cincinnati is a mostly African-American city. And I was so welcomed. And I felt so proud to be there and to collect a, you know, Hall of Fame ring.
Wow.
For myself, you know, and have those people so proud of what we do in the fight game.
That's awesome.
You know, Ashley, we're talking about the Holmes fight. If you play number 4, we have some good clips of that. That was a good fight, Cooney Holmes. So if you could show number 4 with Gerry.
Judges, no voice in the scoring by the referee. It's a 10-point must system. And the left got into the belt. A good right by Cooney. A much better round for Cooney. A quick right by Holmes in the fight. Second round. Holmes knocked Cooney down. Did it with a right. as he sensed the enormous power in his body. That right to the Holmes midriff. Dundee used to call Gerry a one-arm bandit, saying he could only fight with the left. Cooney getting it now from Holmes. For a moment looked like Gerry might go down. Holmes is really laying it all over. Cooney is not in good shape. Suddenly a Holmes attack. And Cooney fought out.
Love that.
So
I got to tell you guys, right? I'm in that fight. I remember every second of that fight.
You looked like a big Rocky there. You had the dark hair. It was kind of like, it was like, it was kind of interesting. I noticed that in a couple of fights. I don't know if, especially from the back, but I love the way you came at it. You're fighting a guy, in my opinion, you probably agree, he's one of the most underrated heavyweights of all time, Larry Holmes.
So listen, I want to just talk a little bit. Dennis Rappaport just recently died. Now, we didn't leave on good terms, but I pray for him to have a good passing in his life. I don't think he was that healthy, but Mike Jones, Dennis Rappaport, we together, we did what we did. We did the best we could, and I shake my hands off to them, and may they rest in peace, right? Both of those guys. And so, yeah, I mean, they guided me the best way they could. I wished, looking back today, I had a guy like Bob Arum, who, when you signed with Bob Arum, he brought 3 or 4 good fighters in your weight class, and you got to work with them every day. I didn't get that. I didn't get those experiences. I used to knocking guys out all the time. You can't really learn that way. But anyway, the thing I really want to say is I felt like a lot of shame. I should have been in better shape when I fought Holmes. I should have conditioned myself better. But looking back now on my life, I'm so proud of that I made it through. And a lot of the guys today are not doing so well. They struggle. They lost their money. They have mental illness. They have different things bothering them. And I think that God kind of looked out for me. And so anyway, it's been a great run. I every time I'm watching the fights, I don't know if you're doing it, but I'm going like this, like, let me get him this time. Let me get him this time.
Exactly. You can't help it. I was just saying, you mentioned, I just want to pick up something you mentioned, because I remember, this is a long time ago, and it's obviously your life, not mine, but I truly remember, maybe because I was a local guy and it was a big deal watching you, but I remember you felt like you let people down after the home fight. I remember you thinking that. I remember this. I'm saying this is 40-something years ago. I was in high school. I remember you thinking that and saying that, and I remember just saying, I remember literally thinking you just went, was it 13 rounds?
Yeah, 13 rounds.
Heavyweight champion, a guy who beat Ali, a guy who fought everybody, and a guy who came, 2 years earlier, because it was a quick turnaround. You went through Young and Lyle and Norton pretty quickly. I think it was in probably less than a year and a half or something like that. You fought all 3 of those guys.
It was a year separated, but yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate that you saying that to me, but I knew that I didn't really take care of myself out of fear. It's almost a fear of success or fear of failure. And I kind of drifted away, and the girls were nice, and the travel was nice. And here's my plane, take my house. And, you don't realize before you know it, you get caught up in it.
Yeah,
and what I really needed was 6 or 7 more fights before I got Holmes. But Rappaport and Jones wanted that big payday. And so I never got that experience that would have helped me through getting hit with a shot and waking up and getting back on the track. But, this is, like I said, I could be dead now.
Yeah.
So, I'm so grateful. I saved my money. I have a great family, three great kids, a grandbaby, a beautiful wife, and that we love. And I'm on my path. I'm on the radio a couple of days a week talking about what I love most, boxing. And I'm on Sirius XM channel 103 from 7 to 9 on Mondays and Thursdays, and have a pretty great life. I travel 2 or 3 times a month doing boxing shows and appearances. And, one of the things that I never thought I was going to accept was getting into the Boxing Hall of Fame. And I went to Cincinnati and I fell right into it. I gave a nice talk about what it meant to me and the people. And you guys were talking about being in Huntington. I remember the buses would be beeping the horns at me. The sanitation men were beeping the horns. Cooney, Cooney. It was like good to be true.
Right.
It was like unbelievable.
Yeah.
What happens to you.
Jerry, your career, beating these guys, Norton, who fought Ali 3 times, and these guys are, Jimmy Young fought Ali 15 rounds, Ron Lau. These were very the division.
Hard fight in his comeback trail.
Oh, there was but I guess it came in when we talked about that. But Jerry, do you have a regret that you didn't have that 13 months was too long of a wait? Is that one of the biggest regrets in your life?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I wish I would have trained properly. I wish it could have been in 6 months or 5 months. What do I need 13 months for? I'm stale. And it left me to make some mistakes. So yeah, listen, I have a great time. I had a great time. I got in the ring with the heavyweight champion of the world, number 2 in history. And we went 13 rounds together and then became great friends to this day. And we help each other all through the year. And he bothers me and I bother him. And we both laugh at the end of the night. So I'm proud. I'm proud to have been in the ring with him and some of those other guys. Although they were towards the end of their career, I could not get King owned all those guys that I needed to fight. He wouldn't give them to me because I wouldn't sign with him. Why does he want me to get the experience so I might beat Holmes?
Right.
So that was kind of like I couldn't win situation. But listen, we survived, right? We move on. We help people out. I think about it. I'm so lucky. I get to help people every day. I travel.
Jerry, you talk about that in your book and about faith, and I think you said in 1988, you asked God to help you, and talk about that. Your struggles and how you conquered them, and what you do now to help people recover from what from the bad things that go through their life.
It's a great question, Gil and Dave. And I grew up. I didn't get the information normal kids get. I kind of hid out in the basement, and because my father was a raging alcoholic, and I was never going to be like that. In 12, I picked up a bottle of Boone's Farm apple wine and drank it down, and that big hole that I carried around all my life in my chest, it went away. I felt attractive. I fit in. I could dance, and that was the worst thing that ever could have happened to me. And over the next bunch of years, I numbed out because I didn't get the information. And so part of me, I go into prisons, right? And I go into prisons and talk to the guys and I tell them, listen, I didn't stab nobody. I didn't shoot nobody. I didn't rob the bank, but I did the same thing when I was drinking and smoking cigarettes. I was ruining my life, and you let your guard down to do dumb things. And so there's a very big commonality there. And hopefully one guy in the prison will get it. And I asked the warden one time, he said, Jerry, if you help one person, you change the course of his whole family. And I've been living with that. Listen, when I was a kid, I remember on a Sunday morning going over to a friend's house and they had cake and cookies. And I thought, wow, you can have that here? Today, I go to a at-risk kids home, and every day I go, I bring hot chocolate, some donuts, cookies, fruit snacks, and maybe one of those kids will pay it back going forward, right, to somebody else that needs their help. And, when I leave those kids, they're laughing and joking. And the part of me, the 2 or 3% of me that I never wanted to look at in my life, it sort of heals. Even if it's for the moment, it heals. And I feel grateful, and I feel honored to be able to do that. And yeah, I do have a good faith. My mother used to walk to mass every day, and I used to go follow her there. And listen, we all make mistakes. We all fall down. We got to get up, dust off our pants, and move on, because life is not waiting for us. I can't believe I'm going to be 39.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, what's so funny, you guys? Cut that out, bro.
You can make a lot of money if you're 39.
Yeah. I get the joke because I remember Jack Benny. That's why.
Yeah, exactly.
You, Jerry. So if you say 39, I remember. Listen, hey,
Jerry,
Jerry,
I want to say, Gil, listen. So also, what has been so great about my career, my life, is I got to meet some of the greatest people on earth, and I loved every one of them. I remember somebody telling me, oh, that guy from the Knicks, Patrick Ewing, he's terrible. He's terrible. I said, so one day he gets up on the wrong side of the bed and he doesn't want to sign your autograph. All of a sudden, he's a bad guy.
Yeah,
he's a great guy. And that's what people, you know, the people don't get that, but there you go.
There's a little shaky guy there. I don't know.
That's a good looking picture there, bro.
Oh my God! Who the hell is that? How did that guy get in there? Please,
Hey,
I know it's scary.
Gil swore he could take you. Gil swore he could take you.
Listen, Dave, that must have been something. I don't know. I refuse to say that I could take him. I wouldn't take him if I was 20 years younger. I couldn't take him.
Listen, was that the day when we were with the kids out there?
Yes, in Huntington.
I loved every minute of that. I was asking how they're doing today, because we come together and we become one. They're no different than me. I'm no different than them. We laugh and joke and cry and figure it out. That's what I learned in life, and that's what I've been gifted with, and I take it with me every day. I used to have to help people to be patted on the back. Now the gift is helping people.
Right.
That's the
so, Gerry, let me ask you this. In light of everything you just mentioned, and that you mentioned, you know, if you had more fights, or if you didn't fight 13 months, it didn't take 13 months off, knowing what you know now, if you beat Holmes in that fight, does it change your life for the better or the worse, you think?
You know, I think I got to tell you, to be honest with you, life was going so fast for me.
Yeah.
Like I was a kid from Long Island, and all of a sudden the president of Caesar's Palace wanted me to fly in his jet, and you know, it got scary.
Yeah.
And you know, you try and make believe it, you cover it up, but you know. Anyway, it happened the way it was supposed to.
Yeah.
Did I wish I would have beat Holmes? Yeah. Maybe we could have had a second fight, but who knows? You know what else could have happened?
Right.
And so I have a great family, great friends.
Yeah, you're in great shape.
Here's a story. I love my life today.
Yeah.
And, you know, I always thought I had to help you love me, and then I could feel loved. But no, I have to love me first, and then I can love you. That's the story. It's amazing, isn't it?
Wow.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear about the Hall of Fame, because I was going to mention you lost 3 fights in your career, your entire career, all to Hall of Famers. 3 great heavyweights. Obviously, Larry Holmes. Your last fight was against Foreman.
Yeah.
Again, another Hall of Fame fighter. Michael Spinks, Hall of Fame fighter. You beat Hall of Famers. You fought guys. I mean, you mentioned guys maybe a little past it. Larry Holmes is in his prime in 1981, 82. I mean, that was a prime Larry Holmes stage. And the other guys that you were fighting, these guys were, you know, maybe a few years older, but these guys had been through, they had never been hit. I'll say this. Lauren Lyle was in some wars. Ken Norton was in some wars. Jimmy Young was in some wars. I never seen their faces look like that.
You know, George Foreman told David Letterman that the hardest he ever got hit was when Cooney hit him with the hook.
Yeah.
So, you know, listen, you know, it is what it is. We're laughing and joking. We're sharing great stories with each other. That's what it's about. And I hope people get to listen to it. And there are struggles in life. We have to pick ourselves up and dust off our pants and move on. And that's what I've learned in my experience. And I tell that to people today. You know, we got to keep moving.
Gerry, how did you get involved? Didn't you start like a union to help fighters and stuff?
I did.
Like that? Yeah. And talk about a little bit of how all the friends you talked about with Holmes and stuff. Talk about that special bond you have with all the ex-boxers.
You know, boxing is a lonely sport. You're in there alone at 5 a.m, running up in the hills. There's a guy trying to beat you up. There's 4 or 5 guys trying to beat you up in the gym every day. You're tired. You got a pain. You hurt your shoulder. You can't pay attention to it. You got to keep on going. And it was fun. It was great. I loved who I was. I loved it. And we laughed all the time and joked. But it is a very hard life. And most people don't leave it with any money, any success. They got a bunch of kids, their wives, they're fighting with their wives. And this is what we have to stop. We have to help these guys make the transition from fighting, and don't stay in there 5 extra years too long, and make the change, turn the page and get on with your life and love yourself for all you've done for all the fans in the world. I mean, I get to see all the best guys wherever I go, these fighters. And it's just like, wow, I feel like Isthmus. You know what that is?
Yeah.
I feel like this must be my lucky day.
Hey, Jerry, when you go to the Garden, do you have as good seats as John Starks? Are you right there with those guys? Or
Listen,
are they in the blue seats, you know?
Last time I went to the Garden, my son sat right next to Jalen Brunson.
Is that right? That's funny.
Okay.
And normally we sit on the court.
Right.
But of late, I'm getting a little old in age, so the younger kids are getting. I went to the suites last time, but it's still beautiful. The food is great. The people are great, and listen, I don't have no problems.
Jerry,
you know?
what's the best pizzeria in Long Island? Do you remember? What was your favorite?
I Ray's Pizza from the city was the best, I think.
12th Street, the one on 6th Avenue, the original one on 11th Street?
Yeah.
I was
closer I'm in Jersey now. I'm in Jersey. We got great pizza here.
Yeah. Okay.
I got a couple of friends. I got a lot of friends that own pizza stores and Italian restaurants. So I'm a lucky guy.
Jerry, aside from Holmes, who I know you're close with, so I want to take him out of the equation. Your favorite either boxer or athlete of your generation, like guys who you were in awe of, or a guy that stands out to you, is maybe we'd be surprised as to the kind of people they were.
John McEnroe,
really,
Johnny Starks, Joe Namath. I've been so lucky to meet those people and hang around with them and get to know them a little bit, and they let you in somewhat. So, and just in every sport, also as being an athlete, we are responsible to help raise money for less fortunate people. Yeah. So for all my career, I've been playing golf for, I want to say, 3 days a week, but probably 5, raising money for different charities. And you meet Joe Namath used to have a tournament when he'd use Bethpage Black, all the courses filled up with athletes and you spend a day with them. Hello, joking, laughing, taking pictures, telling old stories. And it's
hey, Jerry, our time was Joe Willie was my favorite. Clyde was Clyde.
Yeah, I love Clyde.
Monroe. I mean, that team. Talk about, what do you think about the Knicks? You think they got a good chance to go compared to?
Listen, I'm praying. I've been a Knick fan. I've been a Jet fan. I've been what else? A Ranger fan. I've been every kind of New York fan you can imagine, and I made my kids those fans, and we're all suffering. But not with the Knicks. The Knicks are cool.
The Knicks are cool.
Looking good.
They got a new coach. I think he's helped.
That team's playing great right now. Game 1 is probably just underway. People ask me, how are you having the show tonight? It's game 1. I said, we got Gerry Cooney on. That's how I have the show tonight.
I'm hoping to be at Thursday's game.
All right, good.
Hey, Jerry, we have people, some of the people watching the show, they said, Foreman said Cooney punched harder than Ernie Shavers.
He was, listen, I have to argue with her on that. He was an amazing puncher. He didn't have much stamina, but he could punch. And I loved him. He was a quiet man. I remember years ago, he went over to England to do an exhibition, and he's fighting this big Wall Street guy from over there. And the guy's telling him, I'm going to knock you out. I'm going to do this. Ernie Shavers said he hit him on the chest with the right hand. He went down and quit. And so, I loved Ernie Shavers. He was a great, quiet man. He fought right to the end. And everyone's got a story, right? We all do.
How about
great generation of boxing.
How about Joe Frazier and Ali and those guys?
Joe Frazier and Ali, they were great. They, always with him. I almost had a chance to fight Ali in one of his comebacks, but he lost to Leon Spinks. So he had to go back and fight Leon Spinks, and that's how I got Holmes. Joe Frazier was an ornery kind of guy. He was angry. He had a bunch of people who managed him that mismanaged his money. Yeah. And Ali was the perfect to pick on him, and he was too slow. Yeah. But they were great guys. I mean, come on, it's unbelievable. They were going to die in the ring in their last fight. They were going to die in the ring.
I know. I heard that. Someone told me that the first Ali Frazier fight, the one at the Garden, that fight of the century, that Frazier was like in the hospital that night and he almost died. Yes. That's what someone told me. If that was
that's a lot of wear and tear on the body. You're getting hit in the head like that. Even if Ali wasn't a great puncher, but it's a contact punch because Frazier was always coming in, swelled up his eyes. Eddie Futch almost stopped the fight, and Joe Frazier wouldn't let him.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's great stories. Alexis Aguayo. We got so many fighters that we can watch.
Jerry, a couple of people have asked me too to ask you, what do you think about this UFC and this compared to your generation of boxing? What's your opinion about that?
I gotta tell you something. I'm not a big fan of it, but they're making good money, and I think that they're just getting banged around too much. They also have bare knuckle boxing now, and the guys can fight. The guys that are in it can fight. The only thing is you can't hit the guy in the head. You break your hands.
Yeah.
Wow.
So anyway,
I never thought that. I remember the first time I saw UFC, I said, "This is never gonna last. It's too brutal." That was like 25 years ago.
Hey, Dave, we got someone very important. Sydney's asking a question.
Cindy.
Did Jerry know Howard Cosell, and thoughts on him?
Did I know Howard Cosell?
Yeah, this is.
Are you kidding me? I used to hang out at his house. He flew me out to Dallas, Texas, and I was a young kid. I was like 24. I said, "Listen, do you mind if I walk around the stadium?" He said, "No, go ahead." They made me leave the stadium. It was before the Holmes fight, and I was disrupting the game. How about that, bro? Wow. Howard Cosell was just the greatest guy in the world. Really? He said to me, "Jerry, I am ABC," and he was.
He was.
And he got older. When his wife died, it was very sad. I think something changed. And when his wife died, he was. I remember being at his house, and he said that Dick Young was a pig. He was a writer for the Daily News, and his wife said, "Yeah." His wife said, "Yeah, Howard. How come you read him every day?" So, those kinds of stories are just fantastic.
You know what? I thought the same of Dick Young, and I read him every day too. So I can't comment.
Talk about a guy who was ornery, right? Dick Young, he really did.
Yeah, he's a. But that's
Jerry, did you get a big kick when you was, like you said, when you saw yourself in like with the newspaper stand, and you then start seeing yourself in the Daily News, the Post, the Long Island? How was that as a kid? That when you started fighting and you started reading about articles about yourself?
Well, that was just, it's like, because where I came from, I was told a lot of negative things. So when I went at 16 to the Daily News stand, and my picture was on the back paper, it made me somebody, and I took it to school and said, "Look, that's me." And then later on, we admire those people that are fighting in the ring and with us and suffering and, running every morning. And so, it's respect and love. I mean, I'm so happy who I am today. I didn't always feel that way.
That's great.
Jerry, we love you. We could talk 3 hours for you. I appreciate your time. I mean, all the work. Talk about some of the organizations that you're involved with and how people can maybe help you or anything like that, if you have anything to share.
I got to tell you, I did like 4 or 5 charities every week. We traveled to the greatest golf courses. We had nice food. We played with the people who raised money. We went to the dinner. We sold auction items, and that was the way to give to these kids. I remember being at an event one day, and this little kid was so cute, and I asked the mother, "Could I hold him?" And she said, "Oh, be careful. He's got brittle bone disease." And those kinds of things are so invaluable. Or a guy that got burnt up, or people that suffer. That listen, we all suffer somewhat, but I mean, listen, I want to make you happy. I want to see you better off when I leave you, and that's a gift that we also. But it's not something. It's a responsibility for us to make that kid laugh. For 5 minutes, he's like, "Wow, I was with Gerry Cooney, or I was with Rick Cerrone." Rick Cerrone's another great guy. All those Yankee guys, I loved all those Yankee guys.
Yeah, how was George Stein? You had any relationship with George Stein?
I saw George Stein, but when I first went down, Dwight Gooden, Darryl Strawberry, all those guys were at spring training down in Florida, and I got to meet all those people back in the day. It was great. We see each other in and out all the time, still today, and we catch up and move forward. Right? We all got nice families, wives. Hopefully, I do, and we work hard at it. Right? You got to work hard at it.
Yeah. Well, Jerry, how long you been married, Jerry?
I've been married for 31 years.
Wow.
My wife is 12 years younger than me. I met her. It's amazing. I stayed alone for a year after I quit drinking after 4 years. And I moved down to Florida, and a friend called me. He got a job at this accounting firm, and he put me on the phone with this woman. It was my wife. And I said, oh, how's it going? We had a nice talk. I said, when I come back to New York, we'll have lunch. About 3 months later, I came back to New York. We walked down the street holding hands.
Wow, that's great stuff. Congratulations. And even we're married. I got my wife's anniversary, 34 years, Francine, and Dave's married too. I think how many years? 33 years, Dave?
33 years also. Yeah. So we're all in the same boat. We're all the same age, and we're all in a good place.
I want to say I have an older son, 37. That's what made me stop drinking with another woman that we're friendly with. My wife and I are friendly with her, and my son is great. You know, these kids today, he works for a bank. He's building houses. He's, fishing boats. I mean, these guys are crazy.
Wow. But Gerry, I can't thank
I will fight you guys anytime you guys want to fight. Maybe two of you at the same time. I'm a little old.
But you don't trust guys like us from Brooklyn. We fight like Billy Martin does,
Listen, by the way, all you're going to hear is Gil, get up, get up.
That'll be me yelling from 20 feet away.
There you go.
I remember, I think it was somebody was pretend boxing Ali. They were going through the motions, and somebody just made a comment of like, he's gonna have like a Frazier flashback. That's all we knew. We'll pretend. We'll get into the ring with Gerry, pretend a little bit, and he'll have like a Norton flashback, and all of a sudden, it's over. I don't think any people like us have any concept of what it's like to be hit by a Gerry Cooney, or what it's like to be sacked from behind by a Lawrence Taylor. We take this stuff for granted. We see this stuff all the time. We just, nice. I can't even comprehend what it's been like to been hit by you in the gut, much less the face. So forget about it.
So listen, you think about those running backs and how on that split second they've learned to fit in. When you're a boxer, the same thing. It's a split second reaction. I see you do it once. The next time I know you're going to do it again. And I see where you're open, and that's how you set it up. And that's in all sports.
Absolutely.
I know.
I had a coach who told me one time, if you have to think about it, it's already too late.
It's too late.
It has to be instinct. So,
hey, Gerry, it's been wonderful. We'd love to have you on again. I mean,
anytime. Keep my number. I'd love to come on here.
Wish you a lot of luck.
That was awesome, Gerry. Thank you.
Keep up the good work, and I do appreciate your time.
Listen,
have a great night, Gerry.
Next time there's a big fight coming up, call me. I'll break it down for
awesome.
you.
Okay.
Love it.
All right.
Thanks,
you
Gerry.
guys. Thank you.
Good night.
Thanks, Gerry. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Awesome. That's great.
Yeah, before we start the next segment, we're going to have right now go to a commercial break, and then we'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Adam Ricketts, and my life basically revolves around cameras. First off, I just want to thank the Chapters Network for giving me the opportunity to showcase what I can do. I have been a photographer and videographer for over 10 years. For me, it's not about hitting the shutter or the record button, it's about capturing moments in time. From portraits to weddings to fashion and video, I want to be there to capture life's amazing moments. For me, my favorite part about my art is the ability to connect with so many different people from so many different walks of life. Many of the people I even called clients at first, I now call my friends. I got to hear so many different stories and how each of them ended up at this moment in time. My journey as a photographer and videographer has taken me even beyond my home of Tampa Bay to other states, traveling to clients in Alabama and even traveling to conventions in Kentucky. I like to always experiment with different types of photography and video niches, using these to come up with new ideas to conduct shoots and new ways to conduct post-production workflows to make my work look amazing to my clients, and also make my work better and making the way I create easier and more expansive. I love my work to be a collaborative effort, so if you want to reach me, please do. I would love to discuss what you want to create. You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at my personal page at The Adam Ricketts, my portrait photography and wedding photography page, it's at Single Step Studios, and my editorial photography page. I know I got a lot of Instagram pages, but the one for my editorial photography at Single Step Fashion. Also, if you want to see more, you can visit my website, which is singlestepstudios.com. I hope to hear from you soon.
Well, that was a great interview with Gerry Cooney. I enjoyed him. We got the Knicks coming up. I know that. I hope the Knicks do well. Before we go into that, at the end, we'll talk a little bit. I just want to spend a minute about John Sterling passing a couple of weeks ago and how much he was. People remember him, all the Yankee fans, all the great calls. But we'll end the show with that. But we'll have a few minutes. Let's bring on who we have in the back, right, Dave, and see what they have to say. So whoever you have, Ashley, bring them up. And Big Boy, John. Oh, my God, we got everyone. John. All right, so Big Boy.
We're like these night stalkers here. What do you guys got?
Hey, get some light out there. What's going on there, Big Boy?
I was down there, I'm ducking and dodging. I was doing the same moves that Gerry was when he was leveling Norton. Man, I was ducking, I was throwing, I was fading, I was hitting the hand. I was getting ready for it, man. And I wasn't afraid to jump in the ring with Gerry. I got to be honest with you. Back in the day, my late father was a prize fighter, and he taught me how to handle myself. So I got in.
I don't know about that one.
Jimmy Young. Jimmy Young.
I told Big Core we're gonna have somebody on even bigger than him. So he's
and he is
big man.
So my late father used to say, he used to say, Frank, he said, you ever think about hitting that guy? And he said, no, he was already hit.
He was.
That was the same way. As he was already hit.
Yep, that's
good. John, I know that was before your time, Gerry Cooney, but what you think about those fights? Those fights with Gerry Cooney? What do you think about him?
Yeah, really. I mean, really great interview, and I wish boxing was as big as it was back then because it seemed like just a very exciting sport. I know now we're UFC, but it's not the same as boxing was, I don't think. But yeah, I mean, that was a great interview, and he was. Well, I hope you guys have him on soon again because he was definitely a great. It was a great listen.
Yeah. That generation. That's our generation. So we weren't around to watch the Rocky Marcianos in his prime or Joe Louis, but that generation of boxing, 70s into I think the late 80s. Because you had not only the heavyweights, you had the greatest collection of welterweights and light heavy. I mean, it was just an unbelievable time in boxing, especially with the Ali, but even all the guys who came out of like the 76 Olympics, the Hearns, Haglers, Duran. There's so many. Every fight was an event, and that's why it was that's why 40-something years later, actually when Gerry mentioned that was on HBO, I remembered it being. I didn't know if it was the first on HBO because I remember where I was watching that the Holmes Cooney fight. So it was just such a big deal. That's fantastic to see this guy in tremendous shape.
David, it's a true story with the Norton Cooney fight. I had friends that went there, and when they got to the seat, the fight was over.
Yeah,
and it's unbelievable. But I don't know who's got background. Who's got some background? John, you, Big Boy?
No, I don't got.
Big Boy?
I don't think it could be me, but I don't think so.
I know.
Yeah, exactly. So,
because you can't hear that good. You may have to get up. It's a lot of static, because.
Really?
Oh. Yeah.
Wait, maybe.
Well, John, what?
Yeah, I mean, right. Got the Knicks up by 7 right now, so looks good so far. Now it's 6. I think they're going to win this series in 5 games. I don't think the Cavs have a good team, but the Knicks are just firing on all cylinders. I really don't see them losing this. I see it as a pretty easy series. You saw. Oh wait, it's really staticky. Wow.
Yeah.
Holy. Anyways, I look. You saw the Spurs win last night. That I think hopefully that series goes 7. Hopefully they beat each other up. Those teams are both great teams. Going to be hard to win, but got to focus on this series first. Hopefully they can take care of the Cavs, and I feel hopeful about the Knicks. It would be great to see them back in the finals. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
No, I think so. I think I think they have the better. If they play like they've been playing on offense and defense, and they don't allow teams to set up in the half court and pick and roll the Knicks to death and work mismatches, which again, when the Knicks are not playing well, they're constantly getting caught in mismatches. And right now, they're not letting teams do that. They're getting out on the ball, pressuring the balls, doing to other teams what the teams are doing to the Knicks, pressuring the ball 30 feet from the basket. And their Knicks are doing that. And if they do that, it doesn't give teams a setup. When teams set up and he allows screens, and then they got guys open for three, or they get Brunson in a mismatch either against a quick guard or a big center.
Right.
That's when they're in trouble. And they've been great. I mean, and the other thing I'll say about the Knicks is they put people. I don't want to jinx them, but they have stepped on people's necks when they've had them down. They have not let up. So again, I don't want to jinx them because now they'll probably lose. But
just a lot of credit to Mike Brown as well. I mean, ever since they transitioned Cat into like a Jokic type point guard center, I mean, that was the best decision. I mean, the offense is just amazing now because it doesn't say Brunson. It's not just a Brunson ISO offense anymore. It doesn't run by him. Now it's just an amazing offense. Everyone's contributing. Bridges is playing much better. It opened up his game. Josh Hart's everyone's aggressive, and the offense is it's unstoppable. It really is. I don't see them losing if they continue to play like this.
Yeah, it's all about matchups. We'll see. We'll have to say, and again, if they play, whether it's again, I don't want to get past Cleveland because Cleveland's a good team, and we may be changing our tune by halftime. Who knows? Because
you're right. No, it's not going to be easy, but I do see them. They're going to win the series. I think in 5 or 6. I don't see them. But look, who knows? I mean, look, we saw what happened last year. Game 1. Can't get ahead of yourself too much because they were up by 13. Everyone knows that game. Game 1 last year. I don't want to reiterate it, but that game we all thought they were going to go up 1-0, and we all saw what happened.
It's a game of runs, and sometimes you can't stop those runs.
So you got
John, your generation is a big. I mean, we grew up with Rizzuto, Mesa, and White, and a little bit Mel Allen, not too much. But what's your? I love Sterling. The only thing I don't like about Sterling was his Island of Gold call.
Island of Gold.
That used to irritate the beep 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 of me as a Ranger fan. But besides that, tell me a little bit what your generation feels about John.
Well, I mean, it was emotional when he passed away. I mean, I really, I grew up with him on the radio. We used to listen to him every single time we were in the car. We would put the game on the radio. He's a legend. There's not going to be another voice of the New York Yankees as great as him. I mean, he was the voice of the team, and it's just a big loss. He lives a complete life. Obviously, he got guy with 84. He did what he loves. He did what he wanted to do ever since he was a little kid. So I mean, just an amazing story. Just from all accounts, a great guy. And just is no one ever going to be like him again in our lifetime. I could confidently say that. I don't think there's ever going to be a broadcaster like him ever again. And he made a big impact on me because so many memories, so many calls, especially during those 2017 playoff runs, 2012, 2009, obviously when I was alive, and memories that I remember. Had some great calls. So it was very emotional, very sad, and just rest in peace to a legend.
Yeah, we have. I told somebody our team's not always very good, but we have the best announcers across the board, all 4 sports.
Well, except Michael K. But that's
well, in general, and it's funny because I like Michael K's commentary more than I like necessarily his play-by-play, but just historically, just going back to guys. Gil and I grew up with the Yankees, but also just even more so than the Knicks, since they're prominent. They have the 2 greatest basketball announcers of all time, in Marv and Mike Breen. Now the Ranger announcers throughout the years, Jim Gordon, the Big Whistle, years back in the 70s and 80s, and it was always just great stuff. So I've been very fortunate, and I'm glad to see that.
We had more about Bob Wolf was also a great
announcer. Just so many.
And then we had Lindsay. Even the Mets had Lindsay. I know we had some Lindsay Nelson and
Sam Rose.
Howie Rose also. So now we'll talk a little bit about what do you think the Yankees will sign another lefty catcher maybe that hits 170?
Look, I think that the starting pitching looks great. I know Max Fried got hurt, but that's not just don't rush him back. You have enough starting pitching to get by. They just had the bullpen is the biggest concern. They need a third baseman. They need a catcher. But I mean, look, I would go all in at the trade deadline. I've said this before on the show. Got to trade Spencer Jones before his value. The guy is a strikeout machine. His value, he's gonna have no value in 3 years. He's gonna be like a guy like Clint Fred. Like trade this guy. Go all in for a championship. You have Judge Cole's coming back on Friday. Big return. Go all in. These guys are in their mid-30s. You got to go all in because the window's closing soon. So my take is go all in at the trade deadline. And then, hopefully they can get it done. But the Dodgers look beatable, I guess. It's still early in the season, but I think the Yankees have a good chance to win the AL.
They're the best. I think they're the best team in the AL.
By far, as of right now. I mean, there's really no team that could really compete with them, in my opinion.
Tampa's playing well, but they got to come back.
They're not going to keep that up. They're going to regress their means.
If the Yankees stay healthy, reasonably healthy, they'll go out and they'll not only that they'll have potentially Weathers going to the bullpen, which I think he could be a good weapon in the bullpen. They'll pick up another arm for sure. They don't need a ton of help. They need a right-handed hitting catcher. and they need potentially a more sure thing at third base.
And they need a closer, I think, too. That's a big.
Plus, I mean, yeah, because I think
Bednar is maybe if Bednar goes to like a 7-8 inning guy, maybe he gets a little better. Maybe a little pressure comes off him, he gets a little better. But I don't like him as our closer. I don't think he's a real closer. I
love his makeup, but
he's over 100 miles an hour and overpowers guys.
Yeah,
he is his curveball is not really. He doesn't have great command this year. And you see with bullpen guys, it's a year-to-year thing. I mean, sometimes they really regress, and this year it just doesn't look good. So that should be on the top of their trade deadline list.
It will be. It will be so.
It should be, yeah.
Oh, and also the other thing I wanted to mention is that Donnie Baseball's like 15-4, and we still got Boone.
Yeah, you're right. Phillies, yeah, they're rolling.
I mean, how come we don't have Donnie Baseball? I wanted to.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Boone and Cashman are there like Supreme Court justices. They're there.
Well, that's what it seems like. I mean,
till they can't do anymore, till they can't walk, like or whatever. I think they're there for the next 50 years, whether they win or not. You know.
Yeah, I will say about this. I think Aaron Boone. Look, you can say what you want about him. He's not the worst manager. I think he's not. He's gotten better with the bullpen over the years. I'm not a fan of his decisions sometimes with moving a runner over. So, but I think he's gotten better. And I don't think say they fire Aaron Boone. I guess you could have said they could have got Don Mattingly this offseason if they fired Boone. But who else are you going to get if they fire him? Who are you going to get? I don't think there's anyone really better than him at this point.
Francisco Cervelli. I want an Italian guy.
Come on,
Cervelli. I like Italian guys. You
want that espresso machine in the dugout?
Yeah, I do. I like Francisco Cervelli. You know what? I like him. He's Italian.
One day we have to do a show on the Cashman Boone dynamic and just have.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. But the one thing I always defend Cashman about is, but I'll probably just chat GPT the guys he's traded for the last 25 years. I guarantee you 99% of them guys you never heard of.
Yeah,
and then all the guys have gotten returns. From a trade standpoint, I think he's second to none. Just you can question, are we short bullpen, not playoff, built for the playoffs. All reasonable arguments. But when I look at the trades, and then I look at teams like the Red Sox, who have basically just and they kind of, because they're like that next, they're not the Yankees. They get away with all this. They have one horrible signing after another. Free agent signing, guys they let go, guys who they've given long-term contracts to, like Brian Bello and a lot of these guys who are, one guy Campbell's in the mind. So they go under the radar screen. Yankees take all the hits. So it's all relative compared to our competition, the American League East. I think we're probably fine. That's the least of our problems.
You're right.
Hey, John.
Knicks up by 11, boys. Knicks up by 11.
Hey, listen. I want to thank everyone. Dave, great show. Thanks, John. And Gerry.
Great show, guys.
Yeah, thanks for carrying us to start there, Gil.
And we're going to leave the show with a couple of nice John Sterling memories. And we wish everyone a nice Memorial Day, and think about all the people who died for our freedom. And don't forget them in your hearts over the weekend. All right, have a great night, guys. Good night.
Congrats, John, by the way.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Dave.
All right, John. Good night, Johnny.
1-0. Swung on and hit in the air to deep left. That ball's high. It is far. It is gone. I don't believe it. Once again, deja vu. A two-out, game-tying two-run home run by Scott Brosius. Probably the most unbelievable feat in World Series history. Scott Brosius ties the game with a two-run home run. What was it Al Michaels said? Do you believe in miracles? 56,000 Yankee fans here say, yes, we do.
Myers deals, swung on and driven to deep left. It is high, it is far, and it's gone. Yankees win! The Yankees win! Bernie Williams homers deep in the left field seats to lead off the 11th inning on a 1-1 bench. And the Yankees beat the Orioles 5-4 to win Game 1 of the American League Championship Series. Burn, baby, burn. He's done it again.